So the screen design for bases in Airtable is a masterclass in UI design. The first thing that is really apparent here is the use of space. The screen is full width. These spreadsheets can get very complex. So the user here, it gets the ability to use as much as of the real estate as they can and see a great deal of data in one view. Now, in order to provide access to functionality and additional features here, Airtable have a really clever grid going on in the background. So you have flyout windows that give you some more options, and the design for these things are really awesome because whilst you're hovering over, you get little descriptions that pop up for each with animated GIFs in there, animated elements. It's just really nice, just the way that they break up the space and then use overlays and tooltips and hovers to provide more additional information. They only give you the information when you need it, and that's one of the key things in saving screen space. If we go over to the right-hand side here, you'll see that the grid cleverly breaks down into thirds. So you've got 2/3 and then 1/3 here, where you can now interact with other elements that might impact your project. So you can create automations, and you can also integrate apps that might operate with your base here. Now, check this out. How cool is this? It goes from thirds down into fourths once you click on something like help and you get an additional column. I just think this is awesome because the grid is so fluid and the workspace changes based on what the user needs. If you go full width, you now get to use some more of that space, so you can just focus on whatever you're doing, and then you can go back to your other views and close that, and you're back to full width. That is a really fantastic piece of design. And then to provide even more options for workspace, you've got tabs where you can, create additional tabs to work on other elements that relate to your project or your base here. Now, looking at the UI itself, the colors are beautiful. The use of space is clever. The font sizes are small, and it means that they've enabled a great deal of complexity, a lot of data that the viewer can handle at any time, but it never gets overly complex. Like you can always see what you're working with here, and that's very rare in table design of this complexity. Every single element has really clever interactions, and they're very, very custom. It's like every element has the perfect design to interact with that element. They've clearly been really well thought out. There's just a really extensive UI kit of components behind this, and that really becomes apparent when you start interacting with some of the fields and some of the queries that you've got here, because you have every time you interact with a different field type, you have a UI that relates and is perfect for editing those parameters. So from date pickers to working with chips or tags, selecting things to add. This is really nice for adding people or users. A really nice UI for that, and you just get all the information you need once you interact with something. I just think the detail and the complexity that has gone on here is really fantastic. It's really outstanding, to be honest. It's a pleasure to explore the UI, and it's quite inspiring if you're working with tables or complex data. Then I think this is as good an example you're going to see of UI design for this type of product.